What's up? I'm Troubleshoot. Welcome back to another video. In this quick guide, I'll be showing you how to set up and use your own local models on your own PC in Adobe Photoshop. Now, recently they have added the ability to generate images and things like that through Adobe Firefly, but as you probably know, Adobe Firefly is very limited in lots of aspects, and of course you may want to use your own models, Loras, checkpoints, etc. And that's what I'll be showing you in this video here. Now, to begin, obviously you'll need AUTOMATIC1111 Stable Diffusion Web UI installed, and if you don't already have it, you'll find a link in the description down below. Now, how do we get that into Photoshop? That gives us similar but even more powerful functionality than what Adobe recently added. We'll be using a plugin for Adobe Photoshop. In the description down below, you'll find a link to this GitHub page here. This is the Auto Photoshop Stable Diffusion plugin. All we need to do is scroll down on this page here and look for the method one-click installer and click this. It'll scroll us down to the CCX file, the plugin file for Photoshop we'll need to download and install simply by double-clicking on it. If you fail to install a plugin using this method, there's a few more installation steps such as unzipping or of course using AUXP, which is a similar one-click installer. Anyways, when you get to the releases page here, simply click CCX and it'll download the latest version of this plugin. When it's done, open up your downloads folder and you'll see the Auto Photoshop CCX file. Simply double-click on this and you should get a pop-up that opens your Creative Cloud desktop, and shortly after, we should be asked if we'd like to install this plugin. There we go, install a non-marketplace plugin. I'll click install, okay, and now it's successfully set up. All we need to do now is set up AUTOMATIC1111 Stable Diffusion to work with Photoshop simply by enabling the API, which allows it to speak with the extension in Photoshop. To do so, navigate to your Stable Diffusion Web UI folder, scroll down, and locate WebUI user.bat. Simply right-click, choose Edit, or open it in something like Notepad, and when it pops up, just type in --API next to command line args here. If you have other things typed here, just enter a space so that this is a separate option. Simply save the file, close it, and run it. I've got a slightly modified one here with these two options that may help improve your speed when generating images, and I've just added API at the end. I'll simply run the file, and Stable Diffusion will start up as normal. Now that Stable Diffusion Web UI is running, we'll open up Photoshop as well. All we need to do now is create a new document, and for this, the only thing notable is you need to have artboards disabled. Otherwise, this plugin won't work. I'll choose pixels, and we'll work in maybe 1024 by 1024. Now that we've created our project here, you can see a pop-up saying the Stable Diffusion plugin was installed, and we can open the plugins panel here. That'll open up plugins, which you can also open by clicking this little icon on the far right, and you'll see Auto Photoshop Stable Diffusion. Click this, and it'll open a new window where it should link with Stable Diffusion Web UI, and pulling over the console, you can see there's tons and tons of text here, so things are set up properly. All we need to do now is choose a model you'd like to use. I'll set it to Realistic Vision. You should then see the model is loaded. Then we can choose a LoRa from this second dropdown, but for some reason it's not working at the moment. We can enter a positive prompt and a negative prompt, choose text to image, image to image, in paint and outpaint. We'll get there later. Choose a width and height for our image generations, config scale, seed, and of course we can even scroll down to show more options on other tabs. We'll start by just running the prompt that we have here using generate text to image. Now you should get a pop-up saying you need to select an area. You can click this button to activate your rectangular marquee tool, and from there you just need to drag out a square to generate an image, otherwise Ctrl-A to select everything. I'll instead select a portion here in the center. Then we can give it a command such as sure, cute cat works fine, generate. Now, if you see an error like this, we can solve it in two simple ways. Number one is to head to the ControlNet tab and disable the ControlNet tab here. Otherwise, open localhost 7860 in your browser to get to your Stable Diffusion installation. Head to the Settings tab at the very top, then ControlNet on the side, assuming you have the ControlNet plugin, and change the multi-ControlNet max models amount to 3 here. or higher. Then click Apply Settings, and you should be done. Assuming you don't see the ControlNet tab, head to Extensions, and we need to search for and install SD Web UI ControlNet. Head to Available, click Load From, then search for ControlNet and install that plugin. Then, Installed, Apply and Restart, Settings, ControlNet, and set the Multi-ControlNet max models amount to 3, apply settings, and you can close your browser. Now that we're back here, the next time we run the command, we shouldn't get that same error. As you can see, we have 2 different copies of the image on the far right. I'll just delete these extra layers for now, head back to the background, and select an area to generate my image once more. This time, we don't have an error. Perfect. Now we have an image. We can zoom in, mess around with it, etc. This is a Stable Diffusion image, and it's been dropped in as a new layer. If we were to select down from here, we can generate a new image. However, I haven't given it much context on what is here already, so it'll just generate another image. If we instead undo this, select more of the image to give it context, such as maybe this much, then select Outpaint, we should be able to generate another image. It'll take the input image, generate a mask, and then continue from there. Now, obviously, it's trying to generate a cat once more instead of a body, so I'll say cat wearing armor. We'll click Generate. We didn't get what we wanted. Let's try armor suit. Still not. Let's raise the config scale at the very bottom here. We're getting a bit closer. Adding torso. We're still not really getting to the right place, but you understand the point. Obviously, every time you generate a new image, you'll see a new session folder, and inside of it, you'll see all of your previous images here, which you can toggle on and off, etc. They're all different layers. I'll delete the entire session here by deselecting, then deleting, and we'll try selecting maybe more of the cat wearing armor suit. There we go. I selected more of the image to give it more context, and it sort of had the right idea. We can generate more instead of changing our selection, and it'll keep adding to it. Anyways, you get the point. If you know how to use Stable Diffusion, you can probably get some good images here. This sort of postcard is probably the best that I'll get, so I'll leave it there and just carry on outpainting. Now, obviously, the more image you select, the lower resolution your output will be. So if I just say pencil, paintbrush, paint, artist desk, for example, it should continue outpainting, giving us sort of what we wanted. Though the only issue is you can see the image quality has dropped quite a lot. If I turn off this layer, you should see that the quality comes back, and if we turn off further layers down, the quality comes back even more. The reason it's dropping is obviously because we're only rendering at 512 by 512. That is the limitation here, and of course you can only push it as high as your hardware can handle. So what you may want to do is reorganize the sessions so your different images are in different places, etc. It's Photoshop, mess around with the picture as you would usually. Now, why exactly would you want to choose this instead of the built-in Stable Diffusion? Well, you can use both actually. The reason you'd want to use this is your own custom models, your own Loras, more customizable options such as editing the mask, image, etc. Fine control over the image dimensions, especially if you have a really powerful graphics card. You can push this higher than the 1024 limit given to you by Adobe. Not to mention, you get tons and tons of control. Speaking of control, ControlNet, an amazingly powerful extension that's great to learn. You can even use Horde, which is essentially a way of connecting to other computers that have chosen to share their computing power. And of course, if you'd like, you can donate your own PC power to this as well. On the Extras tab, we can upscale by choosing different upscaling models here, such as maybe ultra sharp and resizing to 2x. Let's see if this helps. Selecting an area and upscaling, it may cook my graphics card, but that worked pretty well. You can see the image has drastically improved in quality, and it's great that we can just select certain bits of the image to upscale and use. On the Settings tab, we get a few options, such as customizing the Stable Diffusion URL. If you're connecting to another PC over the network, you can even use a Google Collab here. By clicking it, you'll be able to set that up. Anyways, that's really about it for this quick guide. This plugin is super powerful, and it definitely goes very well with the Remove Background, Select Subject, and the new AI features built into Photoshop. But of course, you can use this in any Photoshop installation. It doesn't have to be the brand new beta. That's about it. So hopefully you found this video useful. My name's been Troubleshoot, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao.